Hey everyone, welcome to the day 4 of Power BI series. In today's session, we will be learning about Power BI architecture and its components.
So before we move on with our live session, please subscribe to our channel.
And also, if you want upcoming updates, please hit the bell icon and also leave a like if you enjoy our content.
A simple architecture of Power BI, this is the best way you can understand it. First, we prepare the data by connecting the data from the various sources. It can be a database, it can be a flat file, it can be a web page, it can be an API, it can be a live streaming data. And we transform the data if required, and then we load it to the Power BI report view. Over here, you can see a data warehouse. But basically, we don't work with the data warehouse concept in Power BI desktop. We work with a report view concept where we load the data once we clean it. And from the report view, you prepare the visualizations by creating the data models and everything, and you share it to the business users. Now, if you ask me to define the process of Power BI, what exactly we do once we encounter the data, once we hit the data source, these are the 5 steps we perform. First, data connection. Now, we'll understand this 5 process visually. The first is data connection. If I ask you to focus only on an image, you can see that Power BI can be easily connected with various kind of data source. Can be a cloud base, can be a flat file, can be a database, can be a third-party data connector. And once we connect the data, we transform the data. Again, I will ask you guys to focus on an image where we transform a messy data into a structured data. If you can see on this particular square, this square represents a structured data, and this broken pieces of square shows you a messy data. And then we model the data where we break the table into very small pieces of tables, which can be easily used for the reporting purpose to build the model. And then we create visuals from that particular model. And once the visuals are ready, we publish them to the Power BI service. That's it. Now, in the next few weeks, we are going to work in depth on each of these steps. We'll see how we can connect to the various kinds of data connectors. We'll understand the complexities of data transformation. We'll build some very interesting data model. We'll work with with some of the most commonly used visuals in terms of default and custom visuals. And then we'll see how we can publish the report and how we can work in the Power BI service platform. Now, if you ask me to do a summary of the process, this is how it will be presented visually. We'll connect to our data. We'll create the reports, the Power BI. We publish it to the Power BI service. You can see this cloud icon over here. And from there, we can share it to the intended user. So basically, we'll be focusing on creating the report, publishing the report, and sharing it to the end user. Now, there will be 2 kinds of memory usage you will be working with. First, the Power BI desktop. Second, the Power BI service. In Power BI desktop, we'll be using an inbuilt SQL Server analysis service, where when we connect to a data from any data source, that data is stored in the internal memory of the Power BI desktop. And the same mechanism works for the Power BI service. So I'm just showing you a glance, a high-level view as how we will be working in the different types of memory usage for desktop and Power BI service. And these are not so tough. These are very easy things to understand. We'll also work on creating PBIX format reports on which the Power BI reports are saved. And we'll also focusing on these components while we're learning. We come across these terms like data sets, reports, visualizations, dashboard, tiles. But we can only implement these components when we know the installation of Power BI. Now, when I started my career, guys, I was working as an individual contributor. Even today, I work as an individual contributor, but yes, I also manage teams sometimes, depending upon the business requirements, where I have to work closely with data scientists or data engineers to understand the complexities of the data and how we can integrate them with tools like Power BI. This was a very common question I used to come across, that as how we can choose a BI tool. And these were something that I have pointed out with my experience working with various tools. The first is technical compatibility. Means the tool can be easily integrated with any traditional data source, whether you can say Microsoft Access or you can say SQL Server. The tool should have a reporting capabilities, obviously, yes, because without getting a proper insights from the data in terms of report, we cannot just use the tool for modeling the data, right? The tool should also provide quality of data visualization. You will be surprised to know that Power BI has more than 280 plus visuals.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Power BI online certification training in partnership with Microsoft, mentored by industry experts. The course link is given in the description below. Now, let's continue with the session.
By through which we can represent the data. Power BI can be easily collaborated with any other data connectors. The most commonly used data connectors in the industry. It also allows you to build device specific reports and dashboards and many other requirements. As and when you will try to explore this, you will come to know. Now, this is the golden rule of working with any BI project that we will follow every day, each and every time we come across a data where we need to work with Power BI. Please try to keep this image, try to save this image in your mind. Everything starts with business understanding, guys. You need to understand the business. Without understanding the business, you cannot proceed forward. You have to understand each and every process of the business, process, sub process, each and every components of the business, and then you have to understand the data. Now, when I say data understanding, what do I mean? Data understanding means, let's elaborate this particular step. When I say data understanding, you need to focus on some of the things like whether the data is a structured data or unstructured data, whether data needs to be cleaned or we can use the data directly for analysis, whether the data is capable of making business decisions or not, whether the data can be used, is ready to be used for solving business problems, whether the correct data is getting captured so that we can use that particular data for doing analysis. What is the data source? How many tables do we require to get the business questions, to get the answers for the business questions basically? So these are all part of the data understanding step. And once you understand the data, if the data requires cleaning or the data needs to be prepared by removing certain ambiguities or null values or structuring the data, we'll do that in the data preparation stage. And then once the data is cleaned, the data is structured, we'll use the data for data modeling, creating a model. And what do we do in the data modeling stage? We work with various types of tables by breaking the tables into smaller tables. We'll focus on two kinds of tables: a table which can be used for calculations, a table which cannot be used for calculation. We focus on establishing the connection between the tables at the modeling stage. We focus on building formulas and functions at the modeling stage and finding those informations which are not available in the data coming from the source. For example, finding the customer's age with the help of the customer's birth details. At this particular stage of data modeling, we'll focus on building visuals, reports, dashboards, using various tips and tricks and various techniques. And once everything is done in the modeling stage, we'll start evaluating the report that we have built against the business questions that are for which the report has been built. Now, if your report is able to answer the business questions, then you can deploy it to the next level. If not, that means you have failed to understand the business. You have to again go back and start your process again. And all these steps revolves around only one concept, that is data. So these are all very important steps for understanding to work with any business requirement. First, understand the business. Second, understand the data. Are you working with the right data? Is that data capable of taking care of the business questions? Then go to the next stage of data preparation. where it depends on the data whether it needs to be cleaned or not. If yes, go for it. If not, go for the data modeling stage, where we'll start breaking the data into small tables, keeping the tables for calculation at one group, keeping the tables that cannot be used for calculation another group, building the visuals, reports, dashboards, working with functions and formulas, building the dashboard stories, and then evaluating that particular report or dashboard against the business questions and deploying it to the next stage.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Power BI online certification training in partnership with Microsoft, mentored by industry experts. The course link is given in the description below.
So guys, we have come to the end of our session. I hope you all enjoyed it. For any questions that you have related to coding, you can mention it in the comment sections below.
So thank you so much for attending this session, and meet you in another session.